I should have never stepped inside that house. Even now, as he writes, my hands tremble, my breath shallow. If you're reading this, turn back. Do not go looking for it. Do not follow in my footsteps. It started as a simple trip. I was passing through a small town, one of those places that barely shows up on a map. The kind where people eye strangers with quiet suspicion, where stories circulate in hushed whispers. I stopped at a diner to grab a bite, striking up a conversation with the elderly waitress. "You travel alone?" she asked, refilling my coffee with a shaky hand. "Yeah, just passing through," I replied. She hesitated, looking around as if making sure no one was listening. "You stehen in Toronto nicht." I shrugged. Hadn't planned on it. Was thinking of camping nearby. She stiffened. "You ain't thinking of setting up near Black Hollow, are ya?" I frowned. Black Hollow. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "That road leads to the old house. Been abandoned for years. But people say..." She trailed off. I leaned in. "Say what?" She swallowed hard, glancing at the kitchen door like she was afraid of being overheard. "'Tis as a house ein real, that it shows up only to those it's callan. And those that go in, never come back." A chill ran through me, but I forced a chuckle. "Come on. Just an old ghost story." She didn't laugh. "People disappear. The ones that see it, they don't last long." I should have listened. I should have turned back. But I didn't. The house that shouldn't exist. Night fell as I drove out of town, my headlights carving through the darkness. Black Hollow was just a winding dirt road, barely more than a trail cutting through the trees. As I drove, an uneasy feeling settled in my gut. The air felt heavy, thick with something unspoken. Then I saw it. A house stood in a clearing where, according to my GPS, there should have been nothing but forest. It was old, Victorian, maybe. Its wooden frame loomed tall, paint peeling, windows dark and empty. I stopped the car. It didn't make sense. I had checked the maps earlier. There was no record of a house here. No sign of any structure in satellite images. And yet there it was, standing as if it had always been there waiting. The air was too still. No wind, no chirping insects. Just silence. I stepped out, my heart pounding. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I wanted to prove to myself that it was just an ordinary house. Maybe I was curious. Or maybe, just maybe, it had already started pulling me in. Inside the house. The front door creaked open under my touch, revealing a dimly lit hallway. Dust hung in the air, the scent of old wood and decay thick in my nostrils. My footsteps echoed, unnatural in the silence. The furniture was still in place. Ornate chairs, a cracked mirror, a grandfather clock frozen at 3:33. It was like someone had left in a hurry and never returned. Then I heard it. As oft krieg upstairs. I frotze, my breath catching in my throat. Logic told me it was the house settling, but my gut screamed otherwise. Slowly, I moved toward the staircase, each step groaning under my weight. The second floor was worse. The hallway stretched longer than it should have, doors lining both sides, some ajar, others shut tight. Something was wrong here. The Dimensionsfeld. Twisted. Then, I saw the bedroom door at the end. It was open. And inside. ISAV Musif. The dead man in the room. He was lying on the bed, his face slack, eyes wide open and unseeing. My own face. My own body. The same clothes. A mirror image of myself, lifeless. I staggered back, my chest tightening with sheer terror. This wasn't possible. This wasn't real. Then the corpse's mouth moved. A whisper, just barely audible. You're next. The room blurred, my vision swimming as the walls seemed to close in. The air grey heavy, suffocating. I turned to run, but the hallway was different now, stretching endlessly, doors slamming shut behind me. Something was laughing. The house was alive, its walls breathing, whispering my name. En zomer wäre, bei onze confines of reality, I felt so meting vetching. So meting ancient. Something that had been waiting for me. The final escape, or so I thought. I don't know how I got out. The next thing I remember, I was outside, gasping for breath, my car still running. I jumped in, floored the gas, and didn't stop driving until I reached the next town. I was shaking, drenched in sweat. I told myself it had been a hallucination, a nightmare. But then I saw the news. Local man missing, last seen near Black Hollow. And there it was, my own face staring back at me from the television screen. My Name, my details, everything. They were looking for me. Because I was missing. I tuchet my own arm, my face, my chest, solid, real. But the reflection in the motel mirror stared back at me with empty eyes. Then it smiled. And I understood. I had never left that house. I never would.